I think champagne is a very interesting beverage, but in all due respect to 500 years of champagne making, we can do better. I'll drink to that.
We're at the Sam Adams Brewery celebrating the release of Infinium, which is not only a new beer that's released by Sam Adams, it's also a completely new style of beer. We're going to go inside and interview Jim Cook, who's the founder of Sam Adams, as well as Bert Boyce, who's one of the brewers. What does the word Infinium mean?
We kind of made it up. It doesn't mean really anything unless you watch Toy Story. It's like to Infinium and beyond. But seriously, it's meant to exemplify the idea that beer has no boundaries, and that people have thought about beer in a very narrow box. I mean, when I first started, everybody thought, well, beer has to be cold, fizzy, in a can, and I was making Sam Adams. It was, big, hoppy, malty, flavorful beer, and people were confused by it. Well, the point I want to let people know is that beer is sort of boundless. There are lots of great new beer styles that have not yet been created, and I hope will play a part in some of them. Infinium is the first new style of beer brewed under Germany's 500-year-old beer purity law. So it's its own unique style of beer that brings some of the elements of a champagne, the sort of fresh, elegant, fruity notes, the dryness, the crispness of a champagne, along with the texture and structure that you get from a beer.
We've sought to kind of redefine what beer can be using the traditional 4 ingredients from Germany, which are malted, barley, hops, water, and yeast only. And to make a beer this light and dry and effervescent without using any fillers or cheating in any other way has been very difficult. It's taken us about 2 years.
It was a very, in part of the creative process, it was very interesting to have those constraints, because it really forced you to be truly creative and do something that had never been done before. And we basically took the brewing process apart, recreated the malting process, did a bunch of things different. We have a patent on this beer, and out of this came the first new style of beer to be developed in Germany in 130 years.
It's its own unique style. It originated with a phone call that I got 3 years ago from Weinstefan, which, if you're a brewer, is a very famous institution. It's the oldest brewery in the world.
Wow.
And it's the German Brewing University. So everybody knows Weinstefan. And they called me and said, well, we're very familiar with what Samuel Adams has done. We admire your innovation, your creativity, and we want to collaborate with Sam Adams to create a new beer. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys have been around for 1,000 years. I was making beer in my kitchen 26 years ago. Is this a prank? Who is this really? But it turned out it really was the director of probably the most important brewery in Germany, and we worked together for 3 years to create a kind of beer that had never been made before, and that's Infinium.
Now, with the 3 or 4 components, including water, that comprise the beer, is there any prominent flavor or any prominent ingredient, or are they pretty well balanced?
I would say it's very well balanced. That's been the trick, is to get each one of them to have their part, but not overpower it. It's really about the process at this point. There's so much work that goes into it that not a single one of those ingredients really jumps out. If I had to pick one, I would say yeast. It's really the fermentation character, the multiple fermentations this beer goes through. That's probably the primary flavor driver. The fruitiness all comes from that yeast.
Infinium is served in a champagne bottle, and you were mentioning before that you finished the process in a champagne house. Can you explain a little bit about how that is incorporated in the process of the beer?
Yeah, in order to get this really lively appearance and all that carbonation in there that makes it so light on the palate, you need to you need to create that carbonation in the bottle. But then if you do that, then you're left with a hazy appearance, and we wanted to clean it up like a champagne is.
This is an Infinium bottle, and as you can see, it's just like a basic champagne bottle. What's interesting about this is in the last step of the process, it's actually bottle aged like a champagne. And champagnes, as you may be aware, are at the last step of the process, you disgorge the yeast to expel it from the bottle. However, with Infinium, you disgorge the actual beer from the yeast and then bottle it into this bottle and serve it.
You won't find another beer out there like this because we've gone to such great lengths, including this final step of finishing it at a champagne winery.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Brewing for the American Dream Foundation?
Sure. The Sam Adams Brewing the American Dream program is a micro-lending program that we started about 3 years ago. The purpose is to provide loans to low and moderate income entrepreneurs and small business in food and beverage. And we make loans to these small businesses so that they can expand, add jobs, and hopefully grow and continue to drive the New England economy.
That's awesome. So are a portion of the proceeds tonight going to that foundation?
Yeah, actually all of the proceeds tonight go to the Brewing the American Dream program. So we'll be able to make more loans to small businesses here in New England.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is so exciting.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you guys for coming.